Okay, so this first video is just going to be about matrices. So you can see here we're in MATLAB, and there's different ways to build a matrix. So you can either build it just saying x equals 1, 2, 3, semicolon 4, 5, 6. That'll give you two different rows. You can say 1 through 3 to give you the same thing. 1 through 3, 4 through 6 will be two rows split by a semicolon. You can do it with lin spaces. That'll give you two rows again because of this semicolon. And then you can also use this zeros function. So what that would do is build a 5 by 5 matrix that are filled with zeros. So we'll run this. Then you can see here, this is what we get. So first we filled it with zeros, and then what we did is we filled it with different values. So in this line of code here, you can see we filled row 3 and every column with the value 1. So row 1, 2, 3, every column with the value 1. Then in this next line of code, we filled row 1 through 3 and column 2 through 4. So row 1, 2, 3, and column 2, 3, and 4, all with the value 2. So that's what happened there. Then to retrieve the data, you can just type X. That'll give you the whole thing that you saved. You can splice it in different ways, so X, and then this will give you row 3, column 1. That's what this is, row 1, 2, 3, column 1, that's this value. Or you can say row 3, every column, and that'll give you this answer right there. So that's kind of how that works in MATLAB. Then in Python, it's a little bit different. So the first thing you might notice is this import statement, which can look intimidating, but it's not very crazy. So basically what this is you're just importing a package that will do things for you. So this is called NumPy, and it holds a lot of the things that are similar to MATLAB. So we'll import NumPy as NP, and the reason we do as NP is because it makes it shorter to write later. So I don't want to write NumPy every time, so instead I'll just say as NP, and then I can just write NP instead. So to make matrices, it's a little bit different. So some of the ways don't work the same as MATLAB. So you can see you can't do this 1 through 3, 4 through 6, and you can't do lin spaces. That doesn't work to make matrices. Instead, we'll have to create this zeros matrix first. So we'll use this NP that we imported, and then say np.zeros, and then a 5 by 5 matrix, so 5 rows, 5 columns. Then you can see we can fill that with different values here. So we'll fill row 2 every column with 1. So I'll run this real quick. So you can see we'll fill row 2 and every column with the value 1. But notice something interesting. It looks the same as it did in MATLAB, but in MATLAB we had row 3. In Python we have row 2. So the difference is how they index things. So in Python, this top number is at row 0, column 0. So this whole row is row 0. This whole column is column 0. That's different in MATLAB because this whole row is row 1. This whole column is column 1. So it starts at different numbers there. So that's important to take note of. That's probably the biggest difference. So we want to fill row 2, so row 0, 1, 2, and then every column with the value 1. Okay, and then we'll fill row 0 through 3 and row 1 through 4. So we'll do 0, 1, or 0, 1, and 2, and then up to 3, but not including 3. So 0, 1, and 2, and then 1, 2, and 3, but not including 4. We'll fill all those with the value 2. So it's a little bit different how it indexes, but once you get it, and it's not that tricky. Then to retrieve the data, you'll just print it. So we print the whole matrix, or we can splice it the same, so you can print X and then row 2, value 0. So that's what will give you this. Or you can print row 2, every column, and that'll give you this. So it's very similar to MATLAB. The difference is just the indexing and then the fact that you use brackets instead of parentheses. So it's not super tricky. Once you get it, you'll get it. So I'll see you in the next video. We'll talk about loops a little bit.